fail, we can blame the whole thing on Kusumoto-san anyway.
Okay. But wow, 160 trillion.
I'm guessing they've already contacted you about it?
That's an assumption.
I have to ask you about Shinya Kawai. You killed him 5 years ago. With your own hands, didn't you? I understand what your feelings must be towards Kawai, but was that really the only answer?
If you've spoken to Kitakata-sensei, then you must know about the video of how Mitsuru was treated.
I do.
Aside from Kawai, the other students pretended like nothing happened. They took no responsibility. They put on their sad faces, and they came to visit Mitsuru at the hospital. But looking back on it now, I don't think they really wanted Mitsuru to wake up. In fact, that's what they were checking on. And what did I do? I bowed my head and thanked them. It was only later that Kitakata-sensei showed me the video. That's when I knew that those kids going unpunished was wrong.
And your solution was to pull them into the quagmire? Make them accomplices in murdering Kawai?
If you already know so much, what more do you need to ask?
I get it now. Let me reiterate. We are not your enemy.
Then please, let me go.
Anything you want me to tell Kawana?
I do. He needs to run. Far away. Public security has their sights on him. His capture is not a question of if, but when. He's in danger if he remains in the country. And once public security has him, they will extract everything he knows.
You mean he'd be tortured?
Yes. Somewhere well beyond the public eye. No one can withstand what they do. He'd tell them everything. And as for me...
They would expose your vulnerability, making you their pawn.
Most likely. They'd gamble away the taxpayers' money, and I'd never purge the corruption in the health ministry.
I get that. But what does it matter?
What?
Because in my opinion, you need to turn yourself in, Kusumoto-san.
You want me to admit to manslaughter? You think I killed a real man? I say he was less than one. Shinya Kawai. He was little more than a subhuman brute. And you saw it. You saw what that brute did to my son. I hated Kitakata-sensei. He was an incompetent teacher. An idiot who turned a blind eye to Mitsuru being tortured. But that changed when he suddenly showed up 8 years later. And then he showed me that video. He said, every bully in that video, they deserved to be punished. That it was the only way to get closure.
You took him up on it? But you of all people should have known better.
True. You're right about that. I struggled with it quite a bit. It's an unconscionable act, no matter how deep your animosity runs. But Kitakata-sensei's words hung on. I couldn't get them out of my head. I saw for myself. I went to Kamurocho, where I'd heard Kawai was working, at a girls' bar. So you know, after Mitsuru jumped that day, Kawai came to me in tears to apologize. I hadn't seen him in all that time. If he'd frozen in place when he saw me, if he'd been the slightest bit apologetic, I might have been able to stay my hand.
I take it he didn't do any of that.
Right. He didn't even recognize my face. And that's hardly the worst part of it, actually. When he saw me, he took me for some bawdy cougar on the prowl for young men. If you've got the cash, I'll show you a good time, he said. All those tears he'd shed years earlier were a farce. But I knew that. Deep down, I'd already known that. That was it. That was the moment I lost all doubt about killing him. And as for those other kids who bullied Mitsuru, they should thank me they didn't share his fate. But that's why. That's why I don't feel like I have any sins to atone for. Every night I pray he will wake up. What more can you ask me to endure?
Kawana said something similar. But you think you can repeat all that? This time say it to her.
Isn't that Sawa-san?
You and Kawana can congratulate yourselves. You got vengeance on a monster. But what you're choosing not to see is that your actions had consequences for her. It's vicious. I've seen this before. Justice for one at the cost of another. Someone innocent always pays the price. I won't just sit here and watch as history tries to repeat itself. This phone isn't being traced by anyone. So, if you have a change of heart, just give me a call before you turn yourself in. That's all I had to say. We're back.
Right here okay, Yagami-san?
Yeah. I'm gonna go talk to Kawana. Need to tell him I met with Reiko Kusamoto.
He's gonna be pissed, you know? He's gonna try to rip...
That's true. So...
You sure? 'Cause